This is Texans TV.
How might the Texans O-line look in 2021? Plus, a look back at the greatest play in franchise history. One man, very qualified to talk about both. Texans 360 is now.
We are ready to rock in Houston. Rock and roll. Oh, let's go!
Guess when you think you've seen it all, there's always something else.
It's you, and we're so happy that you are with us. I'm Drew Dougherty. This is Wade Smith, former Houston Texans lineman, spent a decade in the league, played in the Pro Bowl. Now he's doing great things. He's on the radio doing a whole lot. You ready to talk about some football?
Of course I am. Excited to be here like always.
Well, you're the perfect guy to be here every time, but especially today, because we're going to cover a lot about the offensive line. We're going to look back at a big play from when this guy was actually a Houston Texan in 2011 and much, much more. But we start, like we said, with some of that offensive line chatter. Wade, the Texans have a new offensive line coach, one of the many changes on this team. His name's James Campen, has a very impressive resume. Spent some time with the Green Bay Packers, has a Super Bowl ring to help drag his arm down. You like what you've seen from him? Tell me if I'm right or if I'm wrong, how close I am. I think this offensive line will be better, A, because of him, B, because of the personnel, but not necessarily in that order. I think you're going to see a better, improved offensive line.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a combination of both of those factors. That Campen comes in with a huge pedigree of having a lot of success in this league. The overall philosophy of those guys wanting to buy in and run the football early and often, I think that's important. I think having an offensive line coach that's willing to stand on the table and say, hey, this is what we need to do in order to be successful, and that's the vibe that I get from everything that's coming out of him. Focusing on fundamentals, getting guys in the spots, their best spots, so they can be successful. I think it's going to pay huge dividends for the Texans.
That's right up your alley, because when you got here in 2010, what happened? The run game just took off like a rocket ship, and he was one of the main reasons why. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit more about the personnel like you were mentioning, but now we turn to Campen. He went 1-on-2 with the radio guys, Mark Vandermeer and John Harris.
Joining us right now, Texans Radio offensive line coach James Campen. Coach, how's it going out there during OTAs, during this off-season practice period of time?
It's going well. It sure is nice to see faces and not be on Zoom like last year. And this has been really good. It's been terrific having the guys here.
Coach, what's the focus for you during OTAs? We hear coaches say all the time, head coaches in particular, well, it's 7-on-7. If you're even doing that, you don't have pads on because that doesn't come until training camp. What's your focus for these guys during OTAs and minicamp at this point?
I think it's just, everyone getting a strong knowledge of the offense, the conceptual deal, and understanding the plays and the different schemes that defenses will employ on us. And then obviously the fundamental footwork and hand placement, those things are easily to be accomplished without having pads on. And you have to take advantage of those times now with the differences in rule changes and whatnot. And so you have to be a little creative, think out of the box and create drills and put them in positions to get those fundamental behaviors together.
And what is the key to getting the most out of your guys, whether they're 7th-round picks or first-round picks? What's the key to cultivating that talent?
Well, I think first it's the environment and the culture. And I know that's what we're striving for here, is to create that culture, competitiveness, consistency, being accountable. And I think when you have those type of players, it doesn't really matter where they're drafted, to be honest with you, or how you acquire them. I think once the room has adopted that philosophy, it pretty much runs itself, and I believe we're on the pace for that here. I don't believe in everything's a cookie cutter sheet to say we're all going to do this drill or that drill, to say, hey, look, this works better for you than it might work for this other player. So let's try it. And so I think the fact that they're open to try those things helps all of us.
Coach, the first preseason game is at Lambeau Field, where you spent time as a player and a coach. Will you ride a bike? And did you ride a bike when you were a player? Was that around that bike tradition?
Yes, I did. I had the same kid for 5 years. I sure did.
Wow.
And it was
that's awesome.
Yeah, and it was very interesting. My second year back as a coach, a young man came up and asked for a picture. And, we'd walk down as coaches and there was a saying, goes, "Can we take it right here on this sign?" I said, "Sure." And so he took the picture and his friend took the picture. "What's the significance of this?" And he said, he handed me an 8x10. It was the kid I rode his bike, and he wanted to get the picture at the same sign all those years back. And then he gave me one and we signed each other's pictures. It was very cool, very neat experience.
How's the transition to Houston going for you?
Very well. Very well. The weather's different, obviously. You get from extreme cold to extreme heat. But I was fortunate enough, and I was with the Saints and I played at Tulane that I've had about 5 years of this stuff, and 6 years. And so I don't think you ever get used to extreme cold or extreme heat. You learn to adapt and drink more water. That's probably a good thing.
We promise not every winter will be like last winter, but the summers, consistent.
Good.
Coach, thanks so much for being with us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Fun to hear from James Campen. Going to be fun to see what happens here in August and then in the regular season. But left to right, you got left tackle Laramie Tunsil, a Pro Bowler, a bona fide star.
Right.
To the right of him, there might be 4 new faces on this offensive line, aren't we? Are we? I mean, how far off am I on that?
I think it's a reasonable assumption that there's going to be a bunch of change up front. You got starters that are no longer in this building, and now you bring in other guys that have a lot of experience as being starters in the NFL. Marcus Cannon comes in as right tackle that was traded for. He has a ton of experience in this league. He's been a starter for a bunch of years, won Super Bowl, so he's a guy that you would think is going to be a starter somewhere on the offensive line. You got Titus Howard returning, a guy that started his first 2 years in his career and has played at a high level, so you expect him to start somewhere. Justin Brent comes in here from the Seattle Seahawks. Of course, he started a bunch of games and was really an integral factor in how good that running game was while he was there, so you figure he has to factor in it. And you guys got like Lane Taylor and Max Sharping, and a bunch of those interior guys are going to be fighting it out for those guard positions. So it'll be interesting to see how it shakes out. But I think that's kind of what the Texans are trying to do, is bring as many guys that have starting pedigree that can bring competition into the front and let the cream rise to the top. And so if that happens, you get the best 5 guys that work the best together. That can pay dividends in the run game.
You just brought up Titus Howard. You just brought up Max Sharping. Those were 2 of the first 3 picks in 2019 for the Texans. The talent, unquestionably there. Matching that, you want to see if that can happen. There's a possibility that can happen this year. They can rise, like you say, the cream can rise to the top, can't it?
Yeah, anytime that you get a new scheme being brought in or a new coaching staff that's going to be brought into the building, some guys are going to buy into that and be able to marry themselves and their talents to that quickly, and other guys might not. And so what you have to hope for with a guy like Max Sharping that struggled a bit last year, that he can kind of pick up this way of things are going to get done as far as the fundamentals and how that James Campen wants to do things as an offensive lineman, and see if that can translate to his natural kind of God-given ability that he has. And so if he does that, I think that'll be huge for the Texans.
A lot of people can just say, oh, you need better offensive linemen. Yeah, but it's a lot deeper than that, and it's not just the offensive line coach. You've got new systems kind of coming in place with Pep Hamilton and what he integrates. Tim Kelly's going to innovate some things. You have other coaches as well. It's very much, and plus the quarterback play, it's very much a concerted effort, but I think you're optimistic that it's going to be better, don't you?
Yeah, it's all about a fit, and it's all about everybody being on the same page and doing things that's conducive to having a successful offensive line. The big thing about it is time. If these guys can get as many reps together as possible, get enough time to meld together, it's just like goulash. The more time it has to sit, once you get it out and you start eating it, it's delicious.
With all that in mind, you're probably going to see a lot of guys who are going to wind up starting in the fall, playing quite a bit in the preseason games in August, right?
Yeah, I would expect that. You got to look at this team. It's like, hey, there's a lot of new parts and new moving pieces, and so the amount of repetitions you get together is going to be paramount for you to have success going into the season. So I expect guys that are veterans playing longer into the preseason. I expect guys, I expect it to be a healthy competition between multiple spots. And so you're going to see guys playing deep into games so they can determine who's going to be the starter at the 5 spots.
All right, a little bit later, we're looking back at a play you were involved with, and it might be the greatest play in franchise history. But next on Texans 360, we're looking back at a very special Juneteenth celebration. Don't you move a muscle.
When the Texans take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Saturday, August the 28th, the team will be celebrating the state of football. Look forward to seeing all of the Houston Texans fans in Liberty Whiteout on September 12th. The Texans will take on our division rival Jaguars. Let's go!
September 23rd against the Carolina Panthers will be the Texans Care game.
Pink Ribbon Day will take place on October 10th when the Texans take on the Patriots.
Texans Kids Day 2021 will be played on Sunday, October 31st versus the Los Angeles Rams.
The Salute to Service game will be played on Sunday, November the 28th against the Jets.
It's Battle Red Day. On December 5th, the Texans take on the Colts.
This year's homecoming game is on December the 12th against the Seattle Seahawks.
Get ready for Deep Steel Sunday on December 26th for the Texans versus Chargers game.
The final game honoring all the amazing fans will take place on Sunday, January the 9th against the Tennessee Titans.
Go Texans! All right, we know when all the game themes are going down. Battle Red Day, Liberty Whiteout, etc., etc. This is Texans 360 coming to you from the Ford Studios. Wade Smith, what was your favorite uniform combo?
Had to be the deep steel blue. You got the blue on blue combo. It slims you a little bit as an offensive lineman.
Right.
At one point, I had a black visor because I had an eye injury, and just that whole combination of the black visor with the deep steel blue, it can't beat it.
I forgot about the visor. You look sharp in that thing. Well, hey, listen. A week ago, Juneteenth, big celebration here, and nationally. It's now a holiday, and the Texans took part in something at Emancipation Park.
What's up, everybody? Cecil Shorts III here, former Houston Texan and current Texas legend. And today, we are at Emancipation Park over here in Houston's 3rd Ward, and we're here to learn more about the park and Juneteenth.
On January 1st, 1863, President Lincoln signed and published the Emancipation Proclamation. However, it would not reach Texas until June 19, 1865. The anniversary came to be known as Juneteenth. In 1872, African Americans throughout Houston pooled $1,000 to purchase 10 acres of open land known as Emancipation Park.
This is a historical marker that designates this park as a historical landmark in the state of Texas. Okay. And it outlines the information about the park and the founders of the park. We're real proud of it because there are a lot of parks, but what separates us and what distinguishes this park from any other park is it was founded by slaves. This is Reverend Jack Yates. He's one of the persons who was very influential with purchasing this 10 acres of land. With this 10 acres of land, you had people coming to celebrate their freedom. There were cousins, family members, so it was a place to gather. And it also recognized property ownership because those people who were free couldn't read and write, and so they used this as an opportunity to do education things, to do economic empowerment and health and wellness.
The Emancipation Park Conservancy has undergone renovations and park updates to continue to serve the great 3rd Ward community. Visit epconservancy.org to find the latest Juneteenth events as well as activities geared towards education, health, wellness, and economic empowerment.
After the break, let's go back to December of 2011 in Cincinnati. That's next on Texans 360. Texans 360 continues. Drew Dougherty, Wade Smith, and Wade, you were on the field. It was a chilly, clear day in Cincinnati. December of 2011, you guys trailed for all but 2 seconds, and it was the final 2 seconds when you take the lead. Tell me your memory of that play because it was an awesome one. Yates to Walter touchdown.
It was the end of an awesome drive. There was play after play after play made by guys like Owen Daniels and TJ Yates, like you mentioned. And Kevin Walter, he just comes wide open. It's a great play call, great route run by Kevin Walter, great play call called by Gary Kubiak. It opened up perfectly, and I had a great view of it because I had nobody to block because they dropped guys in the coverage. And so I got to see the touchdown catch and ran into the end zone and celebrated. And it was a great feeling because you knew how long the organization, the city, this team had wanted to get to that point of being a playoff team and winning a division. And so it all happened that December afternoon in Cincinnati.
I got a big wall-sized mural from the side of you guys celebrating in the end zone, and then I got a few other pictures with Kevin Walter screaming into the camera. It's so awesome, so much fun. And we did a film room, John Harris and myself, looking back at that great play. Time now for my favorite play in franchise history, John. The touchdown at Cincinnati. TJ Yates to Kevin Walter gave the Texans a lead with 2 seconds remaining. The only 2 seconds they led that entire game. And it really was an interesting play. You're going to set it up and talk about what happened. But a play or two before, you and I were in the office when TJ Yates, about a year or so ago, came in and told us, oh yeah, that almost never happened, because I've got a few pictures of this play up on my wall. Yeah. That almost never happened because I slipped when I was throwing a pass to my right, and had I not slipped, it would have been taken back the other way for a pick six. So set this up for us.
Thankfully, that did not happen.
Yeah.
You'll see, and I rewound this all the way to the beginning, Arian Foster actually starts in the backfield here, which is key, because when Arian goes out in motion, you're going to get a pretty good read. TJ got a pretty good read on this play of what he was going to see, because you see Pac-Man Jones bump out. And when he bumps out, linebacker bumps here, you know it's zone. So they're just playing a two-deep zone. The play, in essence, really shouldn't work. It's kind of a man beater, because they're going to take these two receivers here down the bottom, and they're essentially going to run kind of a pick for Kevin Walter right there. But what saves this play for the Texans is that linebacker right there. And you'll see he tacks on, he is going to get on Owen Daniels, but he's not got Owen Daniels in man coverage. He should have fallen off, because he gets to his zone, he gets to his zone. If he gets to his zone, you'll see there's nothing really there. But unfortunately, he stays with Owen too long, never sees Kevin Walter come through, and TJ's got a clear sight line. But you can see how these guys come up the field. That's a traditional man-beater pick route right there. And you can see the linebacker right here, his eyes were first on TJ, now they're on Owen, and he doesn't see Kevin until the very end. You see it right here, he stays on him, he's in pretty good shape. Now, take a look if this linebacker had been with Kevin. Covered there, covered, and covered. It's coming down to one play.
Yeah.
But that linebacker right there, in the wrong position, Kevin then sticks in there, and TJ delivers the ball. The last thing, you gotta look at the protection. Now they only rushed 3, but nobody is coming even close to TJ, who then can make a decision. Because touchdown Texans.
And that's the best offensive line in team history as a collection. And on that drive, you saw many, many heroes on that drive. Yates, obviously, with the pass there at the end, but he also had a scramble for 17 yards where he said he just closed his eyes and ran and got to the marker. He had Owen Daniels make a one-handed catch, a spectacular grab. He had Jacoby Jones draw a pass interference.
Yeah.
And all the while, Andre Johnson is on the sideline in a tracksuit because he was injured. He would not be back until the playoffs. So this is just a huge, huge play. The game ends a moment or two later when you kick off and time expires, and then the division gets clinched a few minutes after that when the Texans find out that the Titans have beaten the Saints.
This was such a great afternoon from that perspective. And TJ Yates, the rookie, getting it done. His parents sitting somewhere up in the stands, like over there, like in the third level.
Because the home teams give the opposing fans the worst seats.
Absolutely. And he just comes through with one of the great plays, maybe the greatest play in Texans history, when he finds Kevin Walter. 2 names that will live forever for the Texans. TJ Yates to Kevin Walter.
When we return, the Houston Texans, including Wade Smith, get active in the community. Don't go anywhere. Texans 360 rolls on. We're back. Wade Smith, me, Drew Dougherty. Wade, you were recently with the PAL event. What was that? What was going on there?
It was an awesome event, a partnership between the Houston Texans and the Houston Police Department. The PAL program is where police officers that are part of the program give back to kids in the community we were able to give them a bunch of gifts, we had a bunch of stations that we did with them, had a great day of fellowship. It was a great time, and very thankful for Emancipation Park for hosting the event. And the chief came. Chief Troy came through there. It was a great time, and so we got a video of that, right? So I'm Wade Smith, Houston Texans legend, and I'm here today at Emancipation Park, Houston, Texas, just enjoying the Greater Houston POW program by the Houston Police Department. And this is a great summer give back event to the community here. There's a bunch of kids here that are enjoying doing drills, archery, and doing basketball shooting and footwork drills. And it's a really fun time to help build the relationship between the community here in Houston and our police department. And it's something that the Houston Texans absolutely love, partnering with HPD to give back to the community. I'm glad to be here, a part of it, and we're looking forward to continuing to build the relationship for years to come.
It's Police Activities League, so it's a youth program, it's an enrichment program, it's a coaching, a mentoring program. The officers try to get the kids at a young age and form relationships with them. And you know everything that's going on around the nation right now. It's so good when we can come in and build those relationships with the kids early on. It's a program that works, and we're glad it's up and running in Houston, and we have the support of the great Texans organization.
We were able to give away, in partnership with the Houston Texans and the POW program from HPD, 300 summer kits that had Frisbees and toys and drawstring bags. It was a really cool giveaway for the kids to enjoy during the summer months so they can stay active and keep in great relationships with the Houston Police Department.
Just helping us get through the summer with the kids. So grateful to the Texans organization. It's a great program to just really help kids. So I'm eternally grateful for that, and it's an opportunity that we give back. Somebody helped us, so help the kids today.
What a really cool event, and there's more cool events throughout the summer, throughout the year. We're with the Houston Texans. Hey, Wade, we really appreciate you coming on. Can't wait to have you back again very, very soon. Sound good?
It's always real. Always a good time to be here with you guys.
I love it, man. All right, well, thanks to Mitchell Moreland. Thanks to Tyler Marcotte. And make sure you scan your QR code and experience game day together. Come to a Houston Texans game at NRG Stadium this fall. We want to see your shining, smiling faces. And if you see me, say hello. Can't wait to see you again very, very soon. We've got a very special edition of Texans 360 next week, same time, same place. And you're going to love it. Until then, go Texans. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to know when we post new content.